Good morning. How are you? It's Louisa Munson from the Barefoot Broadcast, and it is the 2nd of October. How did that happen? We started this show in September, and now it's flipping October. I can't believe it. Wow. So we've got this great show title today that was donated to me or gifted to me by Benjamin Stubbs, who is my guest today. And the title is Everything is Either from Love or a Cry for Love. So I just think this big old discussion is likely to kind of burst forth from that point. But before we get going, I just wondered, how are you feeling? You know, seeing as we're talking about, you know, things coming from love or being about love, or that they might be a cry for love, I just thought it is worth checking in and just finding out. I think I can think of really good examples of where I've been both. You know, like sometimes, you know, you might be like 4 seasons in one day, or 4 seasons in 1 hour even, or 4 seasons in just 1 minute, you know, where we change from both. So I'm really keen to see where this discussion goes. Anyway, without further ado, let's bring on Ben now. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Louisa, you right? Oh, there's my clap.
Yeah. How are you?
Very good, very good. It's weird having just 2. We've had 4 the last few times.
I know. Yeah. I'm quite looking forward to the intimacy of it.
I am actually. I think this subject would be quite a nice one to like really break down, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Because when you come up with the idea, when you said, have I got any ideas? Because I've started a little podcast, but I haven't promoted it yet. Because, you know, sometimes you start something.
What's your new podcast called?
Oh, it's not out there yet, but it was called, and I'm not allowed to swear really, am I? But it's called Diaries of a Voice Note. People assume it's the word that rhymes with banker, yeah. But what I've done is instead of the word, I've just used a W and the R, and then just use a waveform. So
yeah, very clever.
The idea of it was I didn't want to do one where I sat for an hour and talked, because it was just me, and I know what I'm like, and I'm trying to fit to my because I think I might have said in the previous one, I don't really like saying I've self-diagnosed as ADHD, but when I've looked at characteristics, that they are, a lot of them are me. So, and I get bored, and pardon?
Like what?
Oh, so the ones on the main one are like I get distracted quite easy. I need to have many things going. So basically what had happened was one day I was writing the book, and I had all day to write the book, like as in like I thought, I've got all day, right? Oh great, I'll put it aside.
It takes most people like months to write a book.
Oh, sorry, I meant like I'd filled out the day. I thought, right, I'll crack on with it today. And after 2 hours I was bored, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And then I was getting mad at myself, thinking, well, if you don't want to do it, write the book, then why are you writing it? And I went on this like spiral. And then my friend sent me an article saying, I think this is you, don't be offended. And then I looked, and it was just saying adult ADHD. By that I mean, it's because, and this is why I'd gone under the radar with it, because it was how adults learn to mask it. And how it says you do this, or you've masked it with this. And I realized that since like it even said, like, when I'd clean the house, right, I would start like do a bit of hoovering, and then I'm bored. Then I'd go on to a bit of dusting, then a bit of something else. Then I'd come back to the hoovering, then I'd do a bit of washing up. And it even said one of the things was you can have split up, clean the house in bits, or you get bored.
Maybe I've got that problem as well.
Well, the thing is, what's interesting about it is when I discovered it was that I was working with students, and it's even that the negative slant that ADHD has, or anything with any sort of label. All ADHD is someone's grouped a collection of characteristics under a label. That's not a derogative, that's just truth. That's what they've done. It's gone, oh, you're ADHD if you've got these type of things. What I've just done is gone, well, this is me. So how can I celebrate it, and how can I use it? And my friend said that there's certain aspects under that under umbrella that they say my superpowers, because I can do 4 or 5 things at once. I will have tabs open, and I will be doing 4, and then I can blast loads of things out, and then the next day I don't want to do anything. And then, so that's where I just celebrate that. So it was when I was writing the book and I thought, so now I just find that I have to, because I've always been accused of flicking from pillar to post. Well, our Ben can't make his mind up. But the thing is, it isn't that. It's just I flick between the same things. It's not one day I want to be a baker, one day I want to be a gardener, one day. But it's always been between like well-being, spirituality, music, performing. It's always been the weather as well, but the weather I haven't wanted to pursue as a career. My tabs are a mixture of those that I flip between. So I decided that I thought, well, if I'm going to do like a little podcasty thing, I'd rather talk about everything that I like. So, and my friends hate my voice notes. They don't like my voice notes. So I thought, and they all go, oh, I hate you. No, actually, some do, some don't. So I've just thought, well, if I call it the diary of a voice note, then then it is what it is. So if I've got something to say, then I'll say it.
Well, that's interesting because it's interesting that like in the title of your podcast, it's got W and then a waveform and then an R, because it could be a waver. I think of lots of different words that could actually be. So,
but the idea of it's meant to be a bit of a tongue-in-cheek that you get our humor. Obviously, especially with me and Carl when we get off on one. That is that is my humor. Again, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm spiritual, so I can't swear or I can't talk about mucky stuff. Because
that's about anything you like here.
Because going back to what you said with the introduction to this is like you said, well, how is everyone? And like the idea of talking about, the 4 seasons in one day. This thing,
or even in an hour.
Oh, totally.
Or a minute.
A minute. But this is the thing. It's the idea of that is the human experience. I'm not trying to trivialize it. Sometimes people go, but what I'm saying is that is okay. We are allowed to talk about sex. We are allowed in the same conversation. We are allowed to have a stupid giggle about a fart noise. Or we are allowed to kind of cry because we're really sad about something.
Yes.
That is the thing. It's taking we're spiritual, so we should do this and not this. Or so we shouldn't do this and we should be doing this. Well, it is the human experience. Obviously, we want the human experience to be a pleasurable one overall and something we enjoy. But we've got to take this pressure off of, I shouldn't talk about farting. Or, oh, no, I shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, that's what I've realized. I just take a step back now. And if people don't want that, I get it. Some people don't want that. They want the spiritual stuff to be all wear white, sound baths. Fine. But that isn't, don't come to me for that.
Like, if you do have some guests on your new podcast, I will very happily come on and talk about farting. And child farts and jokes about farts and all sorts of things. We've got Squire of the Shires joining us this morning, saying good morning. These guys are really, really genuine and authentic. I love the energy of these guys. So thank you for joining us. It's interesting because like I do get this sense, Ben, that this is going to be a really sort of like down to earth, really grounded kind of talk, and I'm really happy for it to also bounce around in an ADHD way as we were talking. Enough, one of my favorite people to listen to is Dr. Dane Here from Access Consciousness. Have you ever come across him?
It rings a bell, especially Access Consciousness.
He openly says he looks at everything from an ADHD perspective, and he bounces around, and he's one of the most entertaining people I've ever come across. It's all really, really cool.
But what you find with like an ADHD kind of conversation, and even that the label, because then some people then get a bit triggered by going, you don't say you've got it if you haven't been. I'm not saying I've got it. It's just under that bracket. When you look at all the when I did the questionnaires, I'm about 70%. I'm not here to get a label. What I'm saying is, what it did when I discovered it, I cried because I've been so hard on myself, and especially with the spiritual stuff, because I know how I should be and I know where I want to be, and now I understand why I got bored after 2 hours of writing the book. That I can't just sit and write a book all day. I can't do it. So now what I do is I'll do a bit of this and I do a bit of that and I do a bit of this. But what you'll find that with the type of conversation is it might go, but it comes together like a finale of a film. But everything normally links. When we come together, when you look at the end of the podcast, at the end of the interview, you'll find that everything that you've kind of gone off on a tangent has kind of comes together.
And the funny thing is, like from a hypnotherapeutic point of view or an NLP point of view, that would be called nested loop, where you start something, then go to another, and then everything gets summed up at the end. And that's actually a technique that people use to manipulate, funnily enough, because it keeps loads of these little subjects kind of hanging in the air, and then people have to keep listening to find out what's going on. But anyway,
Mad.
this I really like this title because I realize I've been very emotional in the last couple of weeks. You know, like keeping it really, really real. You know,
Yeah.
I've been a nightmare. You know, I've been up 1 minute and then I've been reacting the next. And so when you gave me that title and you said, like, is everything like from love or a cry for love? I was thinking, yeah, it's a flipping cry for love.
Yeah.
And I've been more in that like bracket rather than being acting out of a place of love.
But that's normal. The thing is, what I liked about this phrase, and I can't remember where I heard it from because I was trying to remember. Went for a wee before the show, and I was like, "Where?" If you ask me where I got it from, I don't know. But like,
do you know when I'm weeing or showering, that's when I have my best thoughts.
well, I've said this with my clients, and it's because when we're trying to think, we're trying. So then we don't get the answers because you know the famous phrase, "Asking it's given." Well, I believe that, and when you ask a question or when we ask for something, we get the answer, but we don't hear it. And that's the key because we're too busy thinking about the question. I mean, that's kind of been a bit literal, but the idea is when I've had clients before and a woman said to me, I always have my best ideas on the toilet. And I'm like, yeah, because all due respect, you're not thinking about work. Well, you shouldn't. You might be. Do you see what I mean? So with the idea of the cry for love and, so the reason if people obviously watching where this idea come from, it was the famous sycamore tree that got in the UK, it caused uproar. Near Hadrian's Wall, that's 300 years old. It's a famous one. It's used for a lot of films. Can you
just like give us a bit of context? I had to look.
That's what I thought.
I didn't know what you were talking about yesterday.
Because obviously we're going to go into this. I don't want to feel like I'm shunning from your conversation now because I want to come back to it. I just thought we might as well explain that and then we can, because it kind of links in a bit.
It will probably all come back anyway, won't it?
So basically a famous 300-year-old sycamore tree got felled just by some act of vandalism. So it was a famous 300-year-old tree, and it's the famous kind of like the picturesque is it's in a valley, and it's the tree is here,
right?
So there's a lot of like, it's in the middle of nowhere. Well, not middle of nowhere, but you get a good stop.
Border of Hadrian's Wall.
Hadrian's Wall. Yeah. So basically, it's got you get a lot of stars, and you get a lot of sunsets, and the little beautiful things, and then so it's very well known. Excuse me for that. So someone just randomly did it. Now, obviously, it caused uproar, and obviously people were like, in uproar about it and calling the person a pleb and all these different things. I don't know if that's the correct word, sorry, I retract that word.
But fine, don't worry. It's
but fine. Like, you know what I mean? But they and I thought, yes, should they have done it? No, 100%. I'm not here to defend them. What I'm here to say is, would anyone feeling good want to chop down a tree? No.
Exactly.
And would anyone feeling good about themselves or feeling love or feeling in tune with who they are, would they cause an atrocity? No. They might say the words they were doing it for this, that, and the other, but they're not. Yeah. So the idea of that is, if we, as a society, if we started looking at that as our premise, that everything is from love or cry for love, doesn't mean that there shouldn't be some sort of justice or retaliation for your actions.
Yeah.
But why are we doing that? Why that person cut that tree? At least you want to get in his head. What made you do it? And he might be like, oh, it's funny. Yeah. Well, and like, is it like, but why? Because there's something going on that you would not chop a tree down, or you would not cause pain to nature or someone else without something going on inside. And I think if we started looking at society like that, because people say, oh, just lock them up. Well, that isn't working. We're locking every bugger up and things are just getting worse. So until we start looking at why they're doing it, we're just very happy to lock people up in 5 years, 10 years, 8 years. That for me is irrelevant, really. That isn't the big question. And that isn't me. I'm not a justice person, over to them. But from a point of view, why are they doing that? So that's a discussion point I wanted to have today. And it's because if we did that, it also takes the pressure off ourselves, which is what I want to come back to you, with how we feel. Because it's okay to cry for love. It's okay to be hurting. And it's not to demonize it. It's just saying that some things we do, some of the actions you might have took, we're really saying, I need a bit of love today, and do you know what I mean? It's not to trivialize or belittle you or pat you on the head like a little kid, but like,
no, it's right. Like sometimes we feel a bit tender, or sometimes we're reminded of a time in our lives when we weren't feeling very good about ourselves, and all of a sudden stuff comes flooding back. Yes, I when I looked up about that story, I was really, I guess, not surprised to see all the upset and people crying and I noticed like Carl got a bit of a tongue lashing quite a few years ago when he got very upset. There were a number of celebrities that died within 2 weeks of each other. And I noticed that on Facebook, people are saying, damn you, 2003 or whatever it was. I can't remember what year it was. Go do one, you know, because it took like David Bowie. It might have taken George Michael and loads of different people. And I remember Carl saying, guys, you need to get this in perspective, and people were really grieving. And I remember him getting a bit of a telling off. And it was that kind of grief that I was seeing in these tree posts. You know, people were like grieving this tree as if they've always known this tree, which may or may not be true. And most likely, yes, they are upset about it, but the grief that's coming out is a grief that they haven't processed from another time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, everything was the emotions are already within us, so events trigger them. So that's why, again, and when I say I work with clients, only because I give you examples, but like whenever I have clients, and I remember one was working about is the way their wife triggered them. Sorry, what his wife did and how it made him feel. I'm like, yeah, but them things were already within you. I'm not justifying what she's doing.
Yeah.
But use them to then work within you. I said, because otherwise you wouldn't be triggered if you weren't feeling insecure about this or insecure about that. Again, I'm not here to justify what she's doing or how she's doing it, but obviously my job is to help you as my as my client to feel better that you cannot control someone, but what you can do is use what's the triggers to let go. So in a lot of spirituality, I know we can have swinging in and out of it, but they say that everything that comes up is ready to heal.
Yeah.
But the problem is with spirituality is that we go looking for stuff to heal, and that's a shift that I've moved from. That I just set my intentions good. Sorry, not good. That's the wrong word. Positive, or where I want to be, things I'd like to achieve, things how I'd like to feel, and like anything that's in that my way will bubble up, and then I will. Yeah. See what I mean? So like, I don't need to look for it. I want to put. This is where I think, because looking at like the law of attraction and spirituality, and I was looking at the other day, I saw some interview, and they always go, "Oh man, people think you just close your eyes and a bike appears." I don't think anyone in law of attraction has said, "Close your eyes and a bike appears." No, you go out and you do stuff. But I think what I think has been why law of attraction has lost a lot of its shine. I think, and it's a shame, really, in the sense of the idea of the law of attraction is the basis of our life is that what we put out, we get back. We can call it in spirit, in religion, it's called karma. By that, I mean what energy we put out and what we get reflections back. So all I got from it all was just, I want to live as good a life as I can. I want to live a life full of love and positivity and as much as I can. But I also know life happens, but I might as well set that intention.
Yeah.
So, and then whatever is in my way will bubble up. And that's the difference for me. Everything that comes up, I'm like, right, that was already in there. I can't blame this. That was already in and it's triggered me. So I've got a choice whether to be the victim to this or like how the tree, as you know, has triggered people. Understandably, I'm not here to judge anyone triggering it, but it's because it has. Maybe it's triggered something inside them about their loss, because it's something that they just felt, like you said, that whether it's a celeb or a tree, it's still a grief because it's a part of them, that something that's felt familiarity or stable part of their life, like the Queen dying.
Oh my goodness, that was huge for a lot of people, wasn't it?
And it wasn't really, people thought it was the monarchy. It wasn't really the monarchy, it was the Queen. Because obviously Prince Charles is coming in, he hasn't got as much love, nowhere near as the Queen. But it was the familiarity of the Queen that even it affected me. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss the Queen, even though I don't really know it. I wasn't a royalist, but it was just like...
I think a lot of people think of her as like grandma, don't they?
Yeah.
So it probably brings up a lot of grief about losing your grandma or your best friend's grandma, who is who is like the person that kept it all together.
Yeah. And so it's all about, for me, it's that kind of things bubble up. When we realize that is that case, it's okay to have that cry for love. Because I think when we're little, I think that's why it triggers so much, is because we're told, come on, grow up. Come on, because we're okay to cry to a certain point. Then we get like, nope, you got to stop that now. and that's what I think it is. We're not allowed to go, I feel a bit sad today, actually, without people going, oh, what's
Here
up?
we go.
Yeah. So then what we do is
down in aisle 2 again.
Yeah. So then we start to suppress it. So what you've had with your weeks is just, like, and this is where I do believe, we spoke about astrology and the way the moon, and I think it helps extract, like you said, if the moon can pull water and we're 80% water, then how could it not affect us on some level? And I think I've said to you privately when we've had like one-to-ones that I sometimes would have a really weird day and like, oh, it's a full moon. And I didn't know, so I can't even say it was like, oh, it's a placebo effect. I've gone, God, I feel really, and I've not even checked the moons. And I'm like, oh, also,
Well,
so
things really kicked off for me actually on Friday, full moon. And it's a really big one because we got the eclipses in this month, and they are like full moons on steroids. They're really good change, like kind of, they've got like a real sort of like change motion. It's so funny that we were already talking about the law of attraction, because a lot of people use them to manifest with it. It raises so much kind of energy within us. I just want to say hello to the Ancient Mariner, because I can see he's in the chat. And I just wanted to acknowledge him as well, because where I was saying, you know, the Squire of the Shires, I really like how grounded and absolutely real they are. I really appreciate, you know, the Ancient Mariner and his ability to like observe patterns. You know, there's something really smart about the way he stands back and observes patterns. So I just wanted to let you know that. And that you have a place there and a place here, you know. So and I really appreciate you, Ben, because whenever you're here, I get this real sort of sense of generosity and open-heartedness, and I think this is what this discussion's about. So where do you want to go next in the conversation? Like, what's arising for you?
No, I think going back to, we want to just kind of really, not to make it about you because I'm going to bring up your personal things, but what I'm saying is, but I think what you've just got to, I just want to honor you for that, because this thing about anytime you do some sort of podcast, you become some sort of, hey, the word, not even expert, but the words you do something like this, you're putting yourself out there to help other people. I think the biggest trigger we have is then when we're not feeling great, well, I can't bloody do this. If I'm feeling wobbly, then like, what have I got to give? And I think we're in this process of actually that anyone that we look at on YouTube that has got, I think we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, like 4 million subscribers and stuff. They still have days like we have.
Of course
and
they
the
do.
thing is, and so I think what people are crying out for in society, and you see it a lot, is just authenticity. Like what creates this gap of even the conversation we're having today of, you know, love and a cry for love, is they don't want to admit they want to cry for love, because then you feel like you're weak or you feel like you failed.
Well, it becomes one of those like posts on Facebook where someone says like a really kind of nondescript one, like one
don't know why I bother. That's
yes. And then all of a sudden, like the status is full of like little comments like, "You okay, hon?"
PM me.
Okay, babes.
Okay, mate. Because
it's really funny, because actually I did one of those the other day, not exactly like a I don't know why I bother type thing, but I was looking after the kids not Sunday gone, but Sunday before, and there was some sort of like interesting dynamics around the day, and the kids wanted to go out, and so we hopped in an Uber. We went to this cool little shopping center. We went to a park. We went to a restaurant. Went to the beach. Did loads of stuff. And I really sort of like wanted to focus on them and what they wanted, and I was literally kind of following their ideas. And at the end of the day, I'd taken some photos, which I rarely do, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to put some photos onto Facebook, put them on, and said, you know, we've been getting to know this place again. It's been a few years since I've been here. It's great, you know, to do that with the kids. There's lots to keep you amused. And then afterwards, I thought about it. I thought, I've had a really effing shit day. Do you know what? It was when people started saying, "Oh, you guys live such a great life. Oh, so wonderful. Everyone's so smiley." And I thought, this is utter horse shit. I've had a really, really stressful day. And so I actually edited my my post, and I said, look, what I said first is right at the bottom, and then I actually accounted for what happened. And it was like, everything that was well-meaning, it kind of went wrong. Like, you know, like little fallouts, you know, things going on, a 4-year-old, then a 7-year-old reacting, then me reacting. And it was like a whole catalogue of errors. But I really was just absolutely genuine. And I got so much love from that. So it's interesting you're saying, like, you know, we have terrible days and, you know, we could hide it like a lot of people do. But like when I was really open about it, I got so much mum love. and dad love. You know, I got loads of love from people who've been there.
And there you make them feel better. And this is the key.
Yeah.
So going back to the kind of what's up, hun, that because sometimes what we've done, we've been burnt by, and we've all got them on Facebook. I've hid them over the years. The ones that constantly like, don't know why I bother. Oh, the dad, don't call himself a dad. You know, them like literally the same posts. And this is for me, this is where I find it, because how do I say this? I want to word this correctly. I'm here to share. I want people to share how they feel.
Yeah.
But then we look at them, we know people that either don't help themselves,
do
it themselves, keep falling to the same, have got no awareness to want to change.
Yeah.
They're the people that they're not ready. So they're the ones that when we all see these posts as a collective and be like, oh, attention seekers. So then when we genuinely cry for help, we don't want to do it because we feel we're going to be lumped in that same packet. And I think that is what causes that. And you've gone well done to break through that, because you've gone, no,
well,
actually.
yeah. I mean, I got really lovely messages back. I did get one that said, sounds like your kids need some discipline. And I thought, that's a bit off. But, you know, I thanked them anyway, because everyone's view, you know, was, you know, it's valid. But mostly I got people empathizing and saying, yeah, we've all been there, and you live for the next day, and the next day is great. And sometimes even the next day isn't great, but you just carry on. And I got some private messages, and then I bumped into a couple of people in the street who'd seen it and were laughing about it whilst they were having a poo and like wiping up, and they were reading it to each other, and like, you know, just sort of like remembering the times when things like that happened to them. So it made a difference. It made life really real and relatable.
Yeah. And you probably felt better for actually going, and what I really love that, Louise, is that you went, actually, that's horseshit. I'm going to put the honest truth. And that's what I think the reason why I just got the podcast thing, the little voice note one, is because I wanted to make it more just about me. So if I'm feeling something, then I want to say it how it is, and not be ashamed of how I feel, of it to belittle what I do. Because what people are really wanting is that authenticity, but we don't, because we feel we're going to be lumped in the same, we're attention seeking. And maybe on some level we are, because but that's okay. So we want a little bit of
we all are, aren't we?
Yeah. Of course, everything is on some level. You can have going.
Even the people that are hiding and not like saying anything, they're seeking. There are some people who are the most quiet attention seekers ever, because everyone feels them in the room. Everyone knows they're there.
Yeah.
Quietly seeking.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, it's about, this is why it's really good, this conversation, because it is that thing of us being, actually, I am a bit worried about this, or I'm a bit. So with me, as you know, privately, I don't mind sharing this. I become a donor for a lesbian couple to have a baby. And the reason I'm saying that is that's been a massive decision in my life, because I knew that because I'm going to be known, and I'm going to be, obviously they'll know me as dad, but I won't be involved directly because I live miles, like 4.5 hours away. But I knew that was always the deal. Yeah. The reason why I'm saying that is that brought up a lot that I didn't think it'd bring up. Yeah. So luckily, my friends that I've got now, that I can be like, because obviously they know me as Happy Ben, but also there are a lot of my friends that get me that I'm not like all the time, and I do have worries. So one of my good friends have literally seen me cry. I'm like, I don't know what to do, like, because I didn't. Some days I'm like, should I not? Am I being selfish? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing it for them?
What do you mean, should I not? Should I not what?
Should I not have done it? Because I was, because the question was,
can you?
What? Pardon?
You can't undo it, can you?
Oh no, I meant like when they first said it.
Yeah.
Like, I want them back. But yeah, so it's more the idea of that kind of authentic. Oh God, I'm not trying to say authenticity like J-Lo. I'm so Jenny from the block.
Very authentic.
But what I'm saying is that a lot of my friends are kind of that the past few years have opened up more and more to. I could then be like, oh, I don't know what to do about this. Or I could be, and I'm not there fully, but I'm as in like being authentic all the time. But that's been my journey. Because I've got a coach, I think we all have, and this is why I think a lot of people are shocked that coaches have coaches, but counselors have counselors. I want someone to look at me, because I cannot see me. I can do my best, but sometimes having someone externally looking in, I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. That. And the one that he says to me all the time is, you've been a people pleaser. He said, so we're just unpicking that. You want everyone to like you, and you've built up that kind of persona as Happy Ben. And he went, you are. He said, that's you are. You bounce about. And I've always bounced about.
I do think you are naturally bouncy and happy.
But then if I'm not,
there's probably something underneath that as well.
Yeah, of course. I think naturally, I think I am, like, that is me. I'm like a puppy. But then also, like I've noticed, like once since we've really dissected it, was that he that a lot of things. So when I can love being out in public. I love being sociable. But then this is what part of the ADHD, one of the tick boxes was. But then I'm done. Where before I'd force through it, because I'd be like, I'm just done. I can't do it anymore. But I'd force myself to stay in the social situation, like a family party, a gathering, because I feel like I had to, because I felt, oh, it'd be rude to not. But now I'm like, no, I'm done. Like I can feel it. I get to a point where I'm done, and I'd just be forcing it, and I don't want to do it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go because why are you going? And sometimes it is like I make a white lie up just to get out.
Yeah.
But it's them type of things I'm learning on myself that I'm learning. I think when going back to what you've said about yours the past few weeks, we're just unpicking it. But there's so much more authenticity of sharing how we feel, even our for loves.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going back to the Facebook, well, why do I bother type posts that make us not want to be like that, because we think, oh, we're attention seeking. And obviously then people are hurting on some level, but I found as a coach, I get less tolerant to people that don't want to, that say they'll come to me for advice, and like friends and family, but they do nothing to change. To the point I'm like, I just sit there like this. What do you want me to say? I'm saying the same thing for 2 years. You don't want to change, otherwise you do it. Otherwise you'd leave him. Otherwise you'd look for a different job. Because if you're looking for a different job, no. Well, what do you want me to say? I'm gonna just copy and paste. You know, like Woody when you pull the string out the back.
So that's such a good analogy.
So I think for me, there's two types of things. One where if someone's genuinely, we know the difference, opening their heart, saying, "I don't feel good," or "I'm scared about this," or "I'm nervous about this," compared to the people that just kind of feed off it. I think that's for me where I'm getting more sensitive to the difference. I will be there for anyone that is upset, genuinely wants to share, because it's like you said about them people. You probably had a stronger bond to some of them people that commented and messaged you, because they open up probably a bit to you as you to them by you being authentic. Yeah.
Like, I heard about other mums that were poised, ready to buy things for their children, that then went and put them back on the shop shelves, which is exactly what I did, and precipitated a massive meltdown of a 4-year-old. But, sometimes we do take a stand. And most of the time, like when we're being mums or dads, we are trying to make people happy. We're trying to help people, help our little angels. And then we go, wow, sod this. This is too much, because we're also human.
Exactly. And the thing is, every parent, I think, obviously I'll be a parent very soon, but the idea is that when I see my parents, is you always think they're going to be perfect. And actually they're just humans like us. And I remember a post when I was 30, because I'm 41 now, but like when I was 30, someone posted on my Facebook and it said, the older you get, the more you realize everyone's flipping blagging life. And it is, we're just blagging life. Like even people you work with, the managers, and when you become a manager, you're like, geez, I don't know what to do about this. Because you just do your best. And this facade that we all try to be the best person we can. Sorry, trying to show this shiny, happy, like we've got everything down. That's then creates this disconnect, because everyone's got these like shiny, happy boards that basically just kind of like hiding behind. So then we're not authentic. So we feel like we're gonna get judged for it, or we're gonna be pushed aside. And actually, maybe and going back to the kind of days of the tribes where the weakest got shunted out, maybe psychological, that's probably the basis of it. I was watching a YouTube about how a lot of our daily habits come from that, and I'm thinking maybe that's possibly what it could be, but we're breaking them down, Louise. So even you sharing that post, it's probably someone at home probably read it and was like, oh, it's not just me. Do you know what I mean?
I hope so.
No, they would. Well, they did. They said they've done it.
Yeah.
I just think just don't be hardest. Don't be so hard on yourself with these days, and especially if you know the astrology, if they're coming, or that.
The astrology is like mega at the moment, so I'm expecting this is going to really relate to a lot of people. It was. We got a couple of comments.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, it's fine. Dougie Hughes is saying taking horse to water is easy, making them drink is the hard part. I would agree with that. And what you just said actually about, when somebody is complaining all the time and possibly doing those, those "you okay, hun" type posts, like we do want to avoid those people. I mean, energetically, like, I may well give my time to people maybe once, twice, 3 or 4 times. But beyond that, I it's almost like it's a contagious disease. I don't want to catch that disease of negativity. I just want to get out there and be with people who I see are changing and moving up, because there is a social contagion as well, isn't there? If you're only as advanced or as evolved as like your 10 most closest friends, you want to make sure you've got some great friends to be in the company of.
I think I think one of my first spiritual books, unquote, it was the Celestine Prophecy.
Same here, actually.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because it was chances, and it's the energetic loop, and that stuck for me. Every book, someone else, I remember reading this somewhere as well, ironically, in a book, that most books you only take one or two things from, and then you cement them, and then they become, oh, that's really good, I really like that.
Yeah,
and then you can really use them. And one was that energetic loop. So this person was having
what energetic loop are you talking about? Because
he talks it's a relationship.
I was always thinking from the Celestine Prophecies. I always thinking about the aloof drama, the oh crikey, I can't even think of them now. I'm gonna have to pick up my copy and bring it over.
Yeah, it was. There's one about relationships, and it was
people play and how they interact with each other.
It's something to do
tell me about the loop.
No, it's the idea of the loop of that you create that, because I remember with a family member noticing it, and then I was like, right, so you kind of, they say something that triggers something in you, then you trigger something in them, and you're doing it for each other, like you're keeping that energetic loop going. So a family member would say something, then that trigger me, and I'll say something, but we're both getting what we want that kick of like, ugh. So I've come in with that angry energy, they've come with that angry energy, like, right, here we go, pum 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 pum. But now I can see what he's calling it is awareness. When you're aware of that, I see what I'm doing here, I don't want to be involved with this. It's really hard, because when I did it with a family member and I'd stopped it, I could feel them go. Obviously, next time we had the interactions, they kind of went, because they didn't know, they were expecting me to bite back, and I didn't bite back. And so it's me stopping that loop. So going back to the people that moan on Facebook, etc., in that sense, they're after that energy, they're after their fix of feeling good or feeling some sort of energetic pick me up from pity. So they've kind of gone, and people, they put some up, and like the people comment, what's up, pun? And like, I feel a bit better. People, and that's what the loop they're in. So actually they don't, so on some level, they don't want things fixed. Why? Because if they get things fixed, they won't get this. And I think
they won't get the reinforcement.
They won't get the reinforcement. But people like us, or like yourself, who are brave enough to go, actually, I don't want to rely on other fixes. I want to rely on me. But when we start to break those chains, it then needs, when things bubble up, like you said, you're like, oh, geez, I want to, and so it's not as easy to kind of just keep them loops going as it is to stop. But as soon as you're aware of them, then it's easier to kind of take that step. And I think the difference is, like you said, when someone's being genuine with a share of who they are and how they feel, then you don't mind that. And that's where I think I've always felt that disconnect. I thought, Ben, are you heartless? Why do you not care about what this person said? I'm like, I'm just sick of hearing about it. They want to do nothing about it. So, and actually me feeding them is doing more bad. It's keeping them in the loop. So I'm not heartless. But I had this debate, and it took a while for me to get past and see the two different worlds of where, the people that genuinely like rock bottom, that need someone just to be there, happily to be there. And then you feel a connection between each other because you're sharing that emotional connection. And this is where the toxic positivity and all the poo-pooing of law of attraction and high vibes, man, comes from. But no one in that arena is saying to do that. No one in that arena is saying, get rid of everyone negative. It's not about that, because it's about how people make you feel. And I don't mind being around people that are in a bad place if they're genuine with it, because it brings that connection. So
and also, sorry to interrupt.
No, I interrupt you all the time.
No, it's fine. When people are really genuine with the pain that they're in, I think they're much more likely to go through a change, because something new comes up. Whereas if someone is almost using it as a story to get a reaction, you're right, it just keeps people in the loop. One of the things that I notice is I've got a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 friends, or people in my life who they seem to get really almost physically turned on when I go into a bit of pain. So there's a couple of people that I just absolutely refused to, I'd have to be dying to like let them know that something terrible was happening, because they almost get some kind of pleasure. I feel that there are some people who want to connect with me through misdeeds and like things going wrong, you know, like when people are around to see you fall in the shit and then they're like, oh, come here. And I always feel like, you know, in that moment of me opening up and saying, yeah, I want help, in that moment, I feel like I can never move on from that conversation with certain individuals. You know, they always like are reminding me of the last time I fell. So how has that gone? Are you still in that place? Oh, you know, and I cannot stand that. So I find I don't really connect very well with people who give me that kind of empathy that keeps me there. But I've got this really good friend who's actually also a coach, and I would say is my preferred coach. And she'll always listen, you know, when something's on my mind, but she'll never kind of pull me back in. So once it's done, it's done. And she rarely ever mentions, you know, my recent fall from grace or when this went wrong, unless I bring it up. And it gives you so much more freedom to be yourself and to like not be a nut job. Gives you the freedom to start again, which I really like.
Because as a coach, and I'm sure this same with me, that I would be similar to how she is. So I'm not here to dwell. I'm here to be shared with. And for me, because they're paying is the wrong word, but they're hiring me. They want me to work with them to become better people, not better feeling people. They want to enjoy their world more. They want to enjoy their life more. And I know the power of the mind. I know the power of installing new pathways. I know the power of neuroplasticity and all the things that we can do to make ourselves better. And actually, by dwelling in the past or dwelling where we're not anymore, that doesn't help. So sharing definitely expresses, breaks patterns. And then I'm there to then put them back on the path of, okay, so where, you know, and not like, shut up, come on, let's go on the positive. It's not, it's about, right, okay.
That's just as bad, isn't it? You know, when
of course it is.
Share something with somebody and they try to rush you through whatever. It's almost like they're, what's the word? I can't think what it is, but it's almost like they're negating what you're actually experiencing. They're completely negating your actual felt experience. They're denying your experience. And sometimes you need to feel your experience, right? Sorry.
That's what no, you're absolutely right. No, but this is really good conversation, Louisa, because we're really clarifying some of the sticky points in coaching, the toxic positivity world, because otherwise people do that. Think, oh, right, we've got to be positive all the time. So then I'm here, like, and hopefully you got this, that I'm not here to kind of go, right, that's a bit crap. Come on, smile. It's about acknowledging it and picking out what it is. And that, but what is it showing you? So I'm obviously reading the room of where they're at. Okay, so they're really upset about this. Absolutely fine. So what is it showing you? Where? So it's still the kind of steps towards resolution, but from where they're at. I'm not here to go like, right, that's a bit shit. Come on, let's visualize where you want to be, because they're not going to be there yet. They're not, and it's my job as a coach to read the room and go, how can I get them to a better feeling place? And it might just be accepting where they're at. And looking and because what they really want is empowerment. If anyone from a coach, what they really want is someone that when they come out, they feel better. Doesn't mean they're feeling happy or they feel some sort of resolution. They feel like they've shifted in a different path. So sometimes it's just being aware of it and spotting it and slowly, gently moving them on. And that's probably what your coach has done. Because I'm not a counsellor. I'm not here to. And counsellors have their place. Some people need to talk. Amazing. But I'm not that. And I don't want people to assume it's that, because they're not going to get that. I will listen, obviously, but I'm here to kind of go, okay, what are we doing about that? You've said that 3 times. Why does that bother you? Oh, it doesn't bother me. Well, I think it does. Go back. Why does it bother you? Do you mean that's my job, to pick and use and read energy and read it, you know, the feels of what you get as a coach, to kind of go, right, I think that's triggering you still, because you said it 3 times. What are you saying? You're over it, and I don't think you are. And the one woman, just give you examples. One woman was talking about her ex, and she kept calling him like a dickhead. Sorry, you know, all verbal, but it was really potent the way she said it. But she went, I'm over him, and I went, I don't think you are, because you've got to accept that it's done. You're still giving him that power by having such powerful words. What he did, he treated you awful. Of course he did. But you got to get to the point where it doesn't matter, like you know, because I don't think you're over him by using those potent words with such an energetic vibrancy as you're saying them. As I'm not here to judge you, I'm saying you're asking me to help. I'm saying that I don't think you're over him, or you're over this scenario, so we can look at that. And that's what we did. So because otherwise you're going to create more of that, it's going to stay within you. If you have this anger towards your ex, you're going to create someone else to be angry towards, because you're creating that anger to let it go.
Yeah.
So if
well,
you
also,
don't,
you're not taking full responsibility, are you? Like I find with some of the people I work with that as they start to take responsibility, they start to kind of name their behavior or name the thing that they're doing. Like they'll give it like a name, almost like it's a mask that they're wearing, and it's come back to them, but they realize it's not really them, or it's a part of them. And eventually we kind of integrate it. So it's no longer something they pick up and take off, because they kind of love it back in. But for a while, it's quite helpful to sometimes name it and get clear about it. But if you're not naming it, it's because you're naming it in somebody else. You're putting it straight on somebody else's shoulders.
I think the key to it is feeling better. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. We've got, and let's talk about feeling better and how we can do that in a second.
Yeah.
But the Ancient Mariner is saying, age 20, people are worried about what other people are saying about them. At 30, they don't give a damn what people are saying about them. By 40, you realize nobody's talking about you anyway.
Yeah.
Dougie's saying, I now thrive on positivity. I don't want to hear the naysayers. I understand that. I mean, are naysayers useful, Ben, do you think?
I think this is where everything's got a grey area, hasn't it? So I agree what he's saying, that I don't be around people that moan all the time. So is it Douglas? Sorry, I missed his name. Is it Douglas?
Douglas. I call him Dougie.
Oh, Dougie. Dougie. Hello, Dougie. No, similar in my life, that's what I want. I want to be around people that uplift me. That doesn't mean they have to be happy all the time. That doesn't mean we have to agree all the time. But it's the idea of and it's the energetic feel, isn't it? Like I can have a discussion about something and with someone that I disagree with, and we can both feel good about it, and we can both move on and have a great day. But sometimes with the naysayers, it's just that kind of, even the energy of how they say it, like, oh, have you seen that today? I'm exaggerating, but that's the energy that the post has.
We've all got family members like that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Or people that we know.
So Dougie, if he's obviously, because he's only put one sentence, I'm assuming that's what he means. Like the naysayers,
I imagine he does, because he's quite happy.
Yeah, that's what I'm the same. But what I've done is slowly I've chosen that and I've created that. But I've, over the past 10 years since moving back to the UK, as I worked abroad for a while, and I've a lot of my friends randomly moved to Edinburgh, but like they've all got like lives and settled down. So I had to make new friends as well, and they've all been ones. It can be real, but we have a good laugh. But I feel good around them, and we've all had deaths of family members, breakups. We've all gone through some really sad times. But there's still a joyous, heart-warming, uplifting feeling when you're around them, because their core is positive. They want to have a good life.
Yeah.
They can start discussions about politics, or we can start discussions about things. And I think that's the key. For me, if I was dissecting Dougie's thing, for me, the naysayers are the people that just don't take responsibility, moan without for any reason, cynical, because being cynical is always right, but unhappy. So for me, that is a choice. I call it scuba diving. I can put on that mask if I have to and go out for an hour or so around people I don't want to be around. But then I'm done. I wouldn't choose to be around them. I wouldn't be false around them.
Why do you have to put a scuba mask on? Is it because you're diving into their shit?
Yeah. So basically, I love the idea of yeah, no, it's really good. Scuba. So the idea of again, someone else, I don't know who come up with this idea, but the idea of, you say scuba diving, like if you have to go to a family event. So if you scuba dive, you put on this equipment, you go underwater, protective gear for an hour or two underwater. You go and see the fish, you do your bit, and then you come out. You're like, done. And he said, sometimes you have to do that,
don't you?
You
have to take it off. Yes.
So that is where I think sometimes we have this thing where I feel really bad from being a false person. If I've got to go to a family party, actually I like a lot of my family parties. If I have to go to a party that I don't particularly really want to go, but I know I need to go and I know I should go, then I can do it. But only for so long. And I'm like, right, and then to come out of it. So I think in life we've got to have that in some level, because we've got to experience things. But then it takes the pressure off then about having to. I don't have to like all the people. I don't have to agree with them all. So I think for me, that's where scuba diving comes on. Sometimes you just have to put it on, but you can only do it for a couple of hours, and then I'm done. Yeah. I'm like, right, I'm going to come back.
Do you know what? I want to ask you something, because I realised in what you were saying about these situations, there's a I don't want to name the person because they're not here, and they would probably be very, very hurt if I called this, but there's somebody in my life who, whenever I see them, they're always negative, like a negative Nilly or a negative Nora, like Did you sleep well? No. How are you today? Okay, but, and there's always, and the whole conversation will go like that. And I realize I don't have much intimacy with this person. Like, I don't have a very intimate connection with them, because I'm always, I really don't want to spend too long with them. And, and after a while I will actually do the thing that I was saying, I don't want to do, which is I start to deny their reality. I start to say, really? Oh, that's a shame, because, and so I try to lift it up. And actually, in the moment of trying to lift it up, I break rapport with them. I come out of the relationship with them, I guess, in that moment. And, one of the things I've struggled to do is just to meet them exactly where they are. I mean, what's the best thing to do with that? Because I realize that, I'm missing the opportunity to really relate to somebody who does have a great heart, but they do bring me down, and they're not going to change now. I've had so many invitations. I've given them loads of invitations to change, and I don't know. I don't want to lose this person from my life necessarily. What would you recommend? Just put a scuba gear on for like a week at a time or something?
There's two things really. One, at first, would be is you've got, because sometimes when we go into these scenarios, I'm not saying you do this, but we put on this righteous cap, like, these bloody negative Nellies, right? I'll go around them all. I'll do my best. And energetically, she will feel that on some level. That kind of, there's one of the clients I had about his wife, and we were chatting about that, and it was, and he was like, yeah, but I'm really positive around her. I'm like, yeah, but the things you're saying to me and feeling aren't, you're judging her. So you might go, oh, I really like this. I really love you. But actually what you're saying is, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with that. And that's where I think going forward with any type of coaching or life, I think we've got to accept this energy. I'm sick of people going woo-woo. Like, pardon me for how can I say it, but fuck off. Like, I'm sick of that easy one slant. Oh, it's woo-woo. It isn't energy. Energy, we all know. We can feel tension in a room. We can feel chemistry. What the heck is that? It's energy. Get over it. Let's start talking about it. Because
what was the first thing you said that I should do with them?
So be aware. So firstly, when we're going into,
be aware of my judgments that I'm.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you're. I'm being. Yeah. So
no, I am judging them. Oh Christ! How long?
Yes.
Will they say this?
Exactly. So you're going in.
I almost do a bingo card for it.
Yeah.
And like within 5 minutes, I've ticked off pretty much like 20 negatives.
So you're going. So you're going in. So this is. If we're going to be honest, okay. Let's be honest. If I was coaching you, so this is you. You're thinking, right? I'll go in and be all. I'm exaggerating here.
Yeah,
Lisa,
no,
it's
fine.
I'll go in and be positive.
I'd like to see you do me, actually.
Go like you kind of right. That type of show. It's where Carl will have a field day.
I don't think you give a shit.
You're going in. You're going in with right. I'll go in. I'll be positive. I'll try my best. The bloody I watch. Like, so you go in and you think you're here, but your energy is like, bloody hell. She's so. What are we gonna get today?
Here we go.
Yeah. So energy always wins. So you're gonna help attract that from her. You're gonna get that from her. So that is where you're going in now. So if you started to accept her and be like, right. So I, with you, my client, I'd get you to sit there and go like, right. So what do you like about this person? What do you like? And sit and make it and actually write down in a journal or somewhere what you like. Actually, they really care. They do really care for me. Whether they're saying out their mouth, they want to spend time because they love me. Yeah. So I'll give you an example of a real life scenario I had with this, and then it could link in with this person. So I did a talk and at this place, and this woman brought her husband, and I didn't realize at the time he'd been dragged along, and we were discussing. One of the questions was about someone like this. So I said, right. I said, but you're saying this, but you're going in with this energy. I said, so you've got to start making the effort to think differently. I said, how you think about them. I said, try and think of things that that you like about them, rather than just, oh, here we go. Well, I'll get through this, And I'm exaggerating the energy, but you get the difference, don't you? If that's what you're walking into the room with. So anyway,
right.
so I did.
They will feel it, won't they? And
of course, energy doesn't lie.
And they will go into some kind of set piece themselves. You're not giving them the freedom to be themselves.
No, you go into that loop. You go. If I go mum and dad, I will still feel like a child, because I step into that father, mother, son reality. We do. We're never going to lose that. I'd be like, Mum, make us a brew. Pathetic. I know, but you do. But you
Seriously.
do. So yeah, so like, no, I do make
your ass to make it yourself.
No, I'm joking. It'd be like, Mum, like, have you made something? But like, what I'm saying is that loop. So you'll go in and click into that loop straight away. Here we go. Whinge, moan. Here she goes. She's whinging and moaning. So I said, so this basically, I went back a month later to this place, and the guy came up to me. It was the husband, and he went, "I've got to be honest, mate. I got dragged along last month." He said, "By my missus," and I thought it was a crock of shit. The exact words he used. I quite liked it. Yeah. He said there was someone at his work that he didn't like, no one liked, so he was justified in his opinion. Like everyone would agree with him. Yeah. And he said, "Right, I'm going to try this on him." So we started, I think it was a colleague. So he went to his desk and he saw pictures of his family on his desk. He was like, "Do you know what? He may be just having a rough time at home. His mum might be sick. He this might be his place to kind of get away. He might really enjoy it here. And actually he shouldn't really be reacting to us this way, but it might be his way of just like dealing with emotions at home. I don't know." He was just giving him the benefit of the doubt. So he was telling me this story, this man, and he was like, and he went, "I can't believe it. In a month," he said, and that was it. So when they were having conversations about moaning about this person, he would take himself out. He either wouldn't listen, he'd switch off, or he'd just be like, oh God, I've got to go. He thought he really stuck to it for a month. And he said the difference was amazing. He said the guy responded to him differently. He said even as he left him, this bit of the story, that the other guy beeped and waved goodbye. He said he's never beeped and waved goodbye. So are you changing that person? No. But what you are is clicking into a different loop with a different tape with them. So you can have
changing the fields of energy that you're existing
100%. In. Well, you're just clicking into reality that's within them. You're not manipulating them. What you'll find that you'll like that. But you'll organize a time meeting them. Yeah. Like say for example that you worked on this person for a month or two, you feel better about them. And then you go, "Oh, I'm actually free on Tuesday. Are you free Tuesday?" Randomly, that Tuesday is when she's feeling all right. But at the moment, you organise meeting her when she's feeling crap. And then she'll give it to you exactly how you want it.
God, yeah.
So you're asking what to do about it. So the first thing is allow her to be. Yeah, not judging, because what's lovely, how honest you've been, is even though we still hide behind our smiles and what our words are, but we know ourselves. We've chatted to some people and you're thinking, "Oh, they're bullshitting me." Whether it's happy and they're not happy, or and you think, I'm getting a mixed message here. We've all done that. What is that? We're getting a sixth sense. We're feeling something. Animals have it. It's what I say to blokes. If I get blokes going, "Oh, this is crap," I'm like, hang on. Animals have instincts. They fly south before a snowstorm. That's instinct. That's some sort of sixth sense. Someone's not whispering in their ear, "Oh, there's a water hole over there." Do you know what I mean? There's some sort, and until we start to accept that and stop just one swipe of a woo-woo, that's something that gets my goat. To people just use that. It's a bit like the woke phrase. Just one swipe of woo-woo.
Yeah.
I even put because some of the people that I know on podcasts that interview all these brilliant spiritual well-being awareness people still go, "Yeah, but I need the science." I'm like, the science in front of you, with the 2 slit experiment. You should know this.
Sorry to interrupt. I've been, just to back up that, I've been listening to Diary of a CEO on YouTube. Have you seen him?
Yes, that's what I was on about with what's her name? I saw.
He's interviewed some really great people, and I was watching one in the last week where he interviewed a lady called Tara Sfart.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, it was a really, really good episode, and I watched it about 4 or 5 times because there were some key points I wanted to go back to. And right at the end, like, he interviews all these really great change experts in different respects. And there's always a bit at the end where he says, "Well, yes, it's important that I get the science." And I'm just like,
Louisa, this is how this is how I love about the synergies of these conversations. Yeah. You go back to that video, you'll see I've put a comment saying that.
Oh, really?
I've put a comment saying as well. I really like these videos. I said it makes me laugh that Stephen still now, when he's been given all the science, still says, "I need the science." And even when he says his wife, his partner, is always right, using intuition.
Yes.
And even though the interviewer said that she went to CEOs and they said they use their gut instinct. And still this masculine energy of this bollocks of, I need the science. The science is there. What else do you want? Like people can prove with scans there's energy. So what are we at? What are we waiting for before we start incorporating energy into relationships, into workplaces? It doesn't mean that you have to sprinkle Reiki on your salad before you have it. That isn't what we're on about here. What we're on about is I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not trivializing.
No,
what I mean is,
but do that.
yeah, but that's fine. But what? That's
Is that
intent
what you were
again.
doing earlier, in fact.
But yeah, sprinkle of Reiki. What I'm saying is, like, we've got to start until we incorporate energy into normal life, and it's been proven more and more and more by science. We're not going to get the answer that we want to get, because we're going to be like, well, why this? Because, like you said about this person, well, I go in positive. Yeah, but your energy isn't. So until your energy, sorry, it's not pointing at you. I'm speaking generally here.
No, it really is. I go in at the top and I'm feeling at the bottom.
But it's the feeling. So if I was with you, Louisa, if I was working with you, I'd be like, look, forget about smiling, happy with her at the moment. I'm not saying don't meet her, but let's go to the core. I'm saying, assume it's a woman, sorry. What do you like about her? And I'd want you to sit and I'd get you to tell me what you really liked about her and why you want to spend time with her, because there must be attributes that you do like, otherwise you wouldn't. And I promise you, what will happen is you start to build that kind of energetic blueprint of where you start to go, oh, actually, like this guy did with this work colleague. He said, I started to genuinely like him. He said, I started to make the effort to go, okay, because he's justified in his not liking him. But he said, this is achieving nothing because it's achieving a bad workplace environment. So he thought he'd give this a go. That's what he said. He thought, oh, I've got nothing to lose. I'll give it a go. And he said, we're not best mates. He said, but there's such a more of a fluid, positive atmosphere around us. Excuse me, because he will then make sure that he gets that side of him when he's around him. So, excuse me.
I mean, that's creating miracles as far as I can see. Because like we sign people off, don't we? We sign them to the bin of friendship. Like, you know, sorry, I'm going to chuck you in the friendship bin. Yeah. We're never going to have a friendship. We're never going to have a connection. And in fact, they could really stand for something really quite cool and quite brilliant.
Also, what happens though with that though is that if going back to friends, if you'll find that certain friends will just naturally gravitate out. So you can't change their reality. But if you're actually wanting to see positive aspects of them, but they don't want to show that, then naturally you'll go and organise meeting her and it's like, oh, I can't do this week, can I? And then you'll only see her once a month or once every 2 months, but you catch her on a nice day, you know, and so it's not that when people say, well, you can't create someone's reality, you can't create someone's reality. What you can do is get the best bits from them. Because we know ourselves, there's happy Ben, there's happy Louisa. There's pissed off Ben, there's pissed off Louisa.
Oh God, pissed off Louisa.
I get it as well. But what I'm saying, it's still Louisa, it's still Ben. It's just that you will attract that side of them that's within them. Because everyone, let's go back to the kind of love, perfect kind of dovetailed back to the conversation, which is everything's from love or cry for love. Yeah. You cannot wish negativity on someone. Why? Because no one really wants to feel negative. No one wants to get up in the morning and go, do you know what? I have a plethora of shit today. No one does that. But everyone wants to feel better. Everything is a cry for love. They think by chopping down that tree, they feel powerful. They feel by being nasty to you, they'll feel powerful and they will feel better. So actually, and this is what I work with a lot of my clients, this is what I kind of teach a lot when I'm talking about it, is the power of upliftment. So when I work with students, when I've worked, or the parents that work with clients, I look at you, and with my clients especially, I used to work with a lot of troubled lads, had a lot of issues. I would try to be where they're at, but I would see where they could be. Because what they wanted from me was not to go, oh, life's shit, because some of the stuff was
no, awful. Definitely not.
What they wanted from me was have that hope, have that, you know, hope that things can get better. And I did, because I was like, I could see it in them. So my job was to keep that. And that's why I know I've used this for years. It's not I'm trying to manipulate people to be happy. What it is what people really want is that things are going to be all right. That spiritual hug, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I did. And I remember some of the lads saw me years later when I saw them like at petrol stations, because I worked near where I lived. And they're like, just felt good in your lessons. I just felt like you cared. And I was like, they could feel it. So I've had too much evidence to not believe in the power of upliftment. But if you see someone where they could be in their time of need, be there for them and not go, come on, think positive. No, this is shit. but I know where you can go, and I
Yeah.
know what's coming. That's what they want to hear. That's what they want to feel, whether or not you say those words.
And people always remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And that's why they love you so much.
People love, that's why, because I'm not here, but I'm not special.
You're not, but you're not judging. Like, they don't feel openly judged. They feel, maybe they feel like a sense of open possibility with you. You know, like you're creating a space for them to be positive and possible in. And
I think Carl said once with the idea of possibilities. Like, so one of these lads could have easily cut down that tree. The type of lads that had, they'd smashed windows, they'd done these different things. Yeah. Now, I'm not again justifying that tree being cut. But what I'm saying is, a lot of things, when I chatted to some of these lads, some of their stories were hideous. Like, the mum had kicked him out, and the dad's an alcoholic. They're living with a granddad who got cancer. Some of the stories were hideous. So I'm thinking, I'm not justifying them, but I'm like, why are they crying for? Oh, it's a cry for love, right? Okay, that smashing the windows is a cry for love because they're going to get a bit of attention. So I try to be a positive switch in the sense of going, I wouldn't say these words because they wouldn't have heard them. But in my head, I was like, look, lads, you know what you've done in the past is up to you, but you're creating your future now. So I want you to focus on who do you want to be. I don't care you've got ADHD. I don't care you've got ADD. I don't care. I said, but use them traits to make, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? I said, I want you to create the future, not excuse the past. I don't care if you smashed windows at school. You shouldn't have done it. You know that. I don't need to tell you that.
And it's done.
It's done. But now you can do more good by changing the focus. And what's really nice is I started teaching in 2012, 2013, and I stopped in them type of lads, probably 2019, 2020. I've done then work for my business wise since then. But I've seen some that have got the businesses, and that's because when they say they were thick, I'm like, lads, you're not thick. Are you mathematicians? No, I'm not a bricklayer. I'm not a bricklayer. So that doesn't mean I'm thick. I said it's just stop using math, science, and English as a way of defining your intelligence. I went, you are intelligent, you're just not mathematicians. Yeah. Because with the group, I used to have like a warm up on the screen. I got told off by Ofsted for having it, which was like because it wasn't maths based. It was like some little cryptic clue, like 3 wives had 2 fish. Each fish had 2 eyes, 1 eye, and it said how many. It was one of those. How many eyes are in this? It was where they had to think outside the box. Yeah, and they were my cleverest class. They smashed them. So I said to him one day, I said, look, lads, if anyone in here, it said someone told me in 10 years, someone in here was a millionaire, it wouldn't surprise me. I said, because you've got this knack. And one of the lads came up to me a week later and said to me, did you really mean what you said about a millionaire? So he'd obviously been thinking about it. And I remember his name. I said, Jack, yeah, of course. I said, of course it is. But I said, you've got to then make that choice to, celebrate who you are and make that choice to go in that direction rather than just saying, I'm a little shit that smashed windows in school. Because you're not. You're not. You've got to take responsibility for your life now. And that's what I kind of installed in them. You're young adults now. I don't want to care what you did at school. And it's and and I've seen quite a few, and I saw one lad during COVID when we went for you're allowed to go for walks. Yeah. And he's got his own window cleaning company. And then I saw him not very long ago, and he said, because obviously he can live locally, and he was like, yeah. I said, how's it going? He went, well, I don't clean windows anymore. In other words, he's now a manager. So he's got
people cleaning windows for him. Yeah,
and fair play. And I was like, fair play, Marcus. And he got a little girl, she's really cute. She had a little play with a little girl, and he's got a little girl now. So we were chatting about that and life. And I'm not here to Louisa say I'm perfect, but it's going back to that idea of where we, without energy, like your friend, it's just, but the great thing about it is that you can change. So if you change, if you spend time writing about the things you love about her, the things you do like about her, I promise you, I like to say that word.
I'm going to come back to you on that.
But you have to go into that
a lifelong habit of thinking.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. You have the premise. What I'd set to my, they say 30-day money back guarantee. The only thing I'd say to that, which I'll only accept the money back, is you've got to walk into that coffee shop and just love her for who she is. Whether she moans. So I want you to get to the point that when you walk into that coffee shop, you don't care if she moans about her back. You don't care if she moans about the bus being late. You'll love her anyway. And if you go into that energy, it'll be different. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so very much. We've got another comment from Square of the Child. This was from ages ago. I think when we were talking about people being a bit sour, and he says, they said, it sounds like my family of sour trouts. They've distanced themselves, so fair enough, and we just try and do our best and get on with it. Yeah, it doesn't always work out, does it?
No.
And of course, sometimes when we're in judgment of each other, we feel it psychically, as we've both expressed, and Ben sort of really explained as well. So anyway, that was awesome. I love that. I'd like to do a part 2 of this one as well, if you're up for it, because there's so many more aspects of crying for love.
But we've got to remember is we've got to be easy on ourselves, and I just want people to. There's like a kind of plethora of like steps. We've got to be easy on ourselves. We've also got to then make that. We've also got to take responsibility. Someone said, I think the word responsibility somewhere, that we've got to take that responsibility. Responsibility doesn't mean beating ourselves up for feeling bad, And responsibility could be, oh, I need to cry. I feel upset today.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I feel this, and I think the more we do that, the more, because everything's coming up is to heal. So the more we share how we genuinely feel, that is very different. Like I've always said about negative, like someone comes to you with a genuine heartfelt plea, you feel a connection and a need to be there for, and you be there for anything. If someone's coming just to moan about the weather or moan about the government or moan about this constantly, there's a different energetic field. It just feels different. And that's what I want people to discern. I'm not saying don't like bump off all your friends that are just negative. That isn't what I'm saying. You can feel again. It's going back to energy. You feel the difference, don't you? I'll be there for anyone. I've been here for people crying their eyes at my friends. Of course, I'm there. And not have loved it, but I felt a love between us grow because we've been authentic with how we feel. But also had people where I've gone, I don't know what to say.
I think that's a really good moment for us to adjourn this conversation. We've got a last comment coming in from Solar Life Portugal. That's Pete. He's saying, "Bon dia, Louisa and Benjamin, tudo bang," which is like, "Are you guys okay?" And we would say, "Yes, we are." I think.
Yeah.
And hopefully you are as well, Pete. So thanks for joining us, Ben. Oh my God, it's been a pleasure.
What is Louisa of you?
Thank you so very much. I'm going to run the outro, but will you stay behind, because I'd like to just have a quick chat as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you everyone for being involved, and I really appreciate people listening.
Yeah. All right. Lots of love. Thank you for listening, and catch you another time. Bye for now.
Bye.